Yes. Oh.
I call this meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. We will first move into the University land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire occupies the sacred and ancestral lands of Indigenous peoples. We honor the land of the Ojibwa and Dakota nations. We will now move to our Student Senate military acknowledgement. We acknowledge the sacrifices made by those to protect the physical and diplomatic safety of United States citizens and our affiliates. We thank military service members for their commitment to our country. We will now move into roll call. Is the parliamentarian willing to call the roll?
Yes. Director Kurtler.
Here.
Director Keller.
Here.
Director Shepard.
Here.
Director Hagen.
Here.
Director Etzler.
Here.
Director Schulte.
Here.
Director Schaffman.
Here.
Director Berg.
Here.
Coordinator Strigos.
Here.
Coordinator Plath.
Here.
Senator Borgs.
Here.
Senator Campbell.
Here.
Senator Fernandez Villa. Senator Joel Henry.
Here.
Senator Lee.
Here.
Senator Pillsbury.
Here.
Senator Saravana. Senator Zapp.
Here.
Senator Mapes.
Here.
Senator Tower. Senator Daniel. Senator Dunlap.
Here.
Senator Ebert. Senator Phelps. Senator Garrison. Senator Hebron.
Here.
Senator Harada.
Here.
Senator Moffett.
Here.
Senator Nelson.
Here.
Senator Peckham.
Here.
Senator Regina. Senator Stumo.
Here.
Senator Vollmer.
Yep.
Vice President Cardell.
Yep.
President Hebron.
Here. We will now move into a presentation on Student Senate operating policies. All right. So, what are operating policies? The Student Senate operating policies shall provide further interpretation of the bylaws and by extension, the student body constitution per our Chapter 1, Section 11 bylaws. And these are considered non-binding and are meant to include general operations of Senate and not stated in the bylaws. So why are we passing these now right before the end of the session? So operating policies are meant to be updated annually, get passed through internal affairs and brought to GA. However, there have been no official set of operating policies that have been adopted through Student Senate since their establishment in, I believe, 2018. So now that there have been so many changes to Senate positions and their descriptions based off of our bylaw revision year, we wanted to bring forward a new set before the end of the session. So I'm going to go through some of these pretty quickly. But the operating policies is now, I believe, a 26, 27 page long document that you should have received as an attachment. So I'm just going to briefly go through what each of like the major responsibilities of the commissions were that were put in. So starting off with communications, we have Motivational Mondays, public forums, town halls, Senate Sentinel, and marketing strategies. For Equity and Student Matters, we have Ecotherapy, Amplified Authors Book of the Month, Monday Matters and social media updates, surveys and events and collaborations. For finance, we have new memberships, allocable and non-allocable segregated university fees, auditing, and reservations in food. Intergovernmental affairs, there's lobbying, the legislative priority summary, community walkthrough, spring block party, and candidate forums. Information technology, we have the tech survey, innovation budget, and collaborations with campus partners. Moving along down the line, for student health and wellness, we have contacts, public forums, promotional services, the health fair, and the student health newsletter. For student organization commission, we have Blue Gold Connect Plus updates, contacts, the re-registration process, the student organization seg fee funding, advisory groups, the student organization handbook, and funding review. For SOS, we have the internal budget, the SOS fund, and then the SSRC. And for university activities, we have the Senate Commission and campus collaborations, community partners, and senator involvement. Moving along to coordinators and personnel, academic affairs includes the open forum, event planning, and academic resource spotlights. For housing coordinator, we have student education, tenant rights, house stay, spring walkthrough, collaboration with both housing and residence life, and then RHA. For the mascot coordinator, we have Blue Associations, Blue Requests, staffing, communications and connections, Blue Actors and Wingmen, And then personnel to check in with newly appointed senators, track Senate attendance, introduce operating policies to internal affairs and general assembly, and then work with president and vice president on Senate trainings and bonding events. Moving along to committees for academic affairs, the Academic Affairs Committee meets just to discuss priorities and interests in progress and initiatives, and then membership and frequency of meetings are at the discretion of the chair. The Administrative Committee is a new committee, and this will be comprised of the president, vice president, personnel director, program manager, and Senate faculty advisor. And this committee will meet to discuss largely how Senate is running, since both the president and vice president tend to meet with these people individually, but now this is a place for us to talk about like the larger inner workings of Senate and if there are any projects and things that need to be discussed there. Another thing that this committee can do is they can meet in place of internal affairs if a report of misconduct has been filed, so that way it goes to a smaller group of individuals and for maybe more pressing matters that might concern the Senate faculty advisor, for example. The Elections Committee requires at least 4 members to be appointed in March, and yes, including the Personnel Director and the Senate Program Assistant or Program Advisor to chair the committee. And then no appointed member can be involved in a campaign or referendum during this process, and they're responsible for overseeing the election process that we just recently went through. Next up for internal affairs, membership includes personnel director, the Senate director, and then 2 additional directors, now featuring a coordinator as well, and 4 senators. And they meet as needed to discuss personnel, internal issues, and operating policies, and then meet regularly during the spring semester during bylaw revision years. And then finally for committees, we have, or not finally, but on this slide, we have vacancy, and they work with personnel to determine vacancies within Senate. It's chaired by the vice president, and they conduct interviews with at least 3 additional members of the committee. And incoming senators are ideally sworn in by the 3rd meeting of the year in fall. For housing, pretty similar to the Academic Affairs Committee, they meet at the beginning of the academic year to discuss priorities and interests in progress and initiatives. And then membership includes the housing coordinator as the chair, the IGA director, an RHA representative, and then both an on and off campus senator, and then frequency of the meetings are at the discretion of the chair. And then finally for committees, we have the mascot committee, and they work on branding and marketing initiatives related to Blue. They also help the mascot coordinator do interviews for Wing People and Blue actors throughout the academic year. They also help out with Blue Gold Fridays, which is a recurring event where student senators accompany Blue around Davies, the surrounding campus area to engage in conversations with students. And once again, frequency of meetings are at the discretion of the chair. Moving along to general operations, this is just how we run and have continued to run. However, now it's put in the operating policy so that it's more laid out of what this looks like for new and incoming people, so they can see what it is we do at a Senate meeting. So the order of business, what we already just went through with the land and military acknowledgement, roll call, open forum, meeting minutes, reports, business, etc., personnel, all that kind of stuff. For voting, there's 3 different ways to vote, which is once again how we've operated previously, but now it's just laid out. So we go through a placard vote. This is the default method where everybody raises their placard, either in favor of, against, or abstaining, one of those 3 options. We also have what's called a roll call vote, which is very rarely used in the Senate, but is an option where someone could request via a placard vote to have a roll call vote, which would include the president or the chair to be able to vote in a meeting as well or on a specific initiative. And a 1/3 vote is needed in order to consider a roll call vote. And then finally, we have a secret ballot vote. This is used pretty frequently when we swear in directors and our executives now too. And this is where, for a secret ballot, you write your name on a piece of paper to sign the vote, and then you say either yes, no, or abstain from the vote. And this is to protect privacy and the integrity of a vote. So once again, requested by any Senate member in a placard vote of 1/3 is necessary to carry out this method. Next up, executive nominations. This is once again not a new thing, but just laying out how the process works. So at the beginning of the session, the president and vice president conduct interviews while remaining nonpartisan, and then they go ahead and select their top choice based off of those interviews. And they can invite commission advisors, the program manager, or non-returning executives to aid in the interview process. And then they bring forward their nominee to General Assembly, and the nominee provides a 5-minute speech on their interest for whatever position they've been selected for, followed by a 5-minute question and answer period, where the body can ask them questions about their interests or qualifications, things along those lines. And then the Senate body moves to enter a closed session for debate, and then the nominee will be appointed following a secret ballot vote, assuming that it is the majority. Reports are up next. This is also something that's not new, but reports are given by all executive officers during General Assembly meetings, and then reports can also be yielded if there is nothing to update on or there is some other pressing issue for why a report needs to be yielded. Sometimes members are not able to make it because they're sick, and then that would be another time when those votes are yielded, those reports are yielded and moved on to the next person. And then finally, transition materials. Once again, not a new concept that we have, but this is just laying out that documents are prepared by outgoing executive board members so that incoming leadership can be prepared for their roles and what it is they should be expecting as they're stepping in. Next up, outlining closed session. This is not a new concept. None of these things are that are listed here really. But the presiding officer, so in a General Assembly meeting, that would be the president, instructs all members to leave the room who are not voting members, and then that same officer will inform the body that no electronic devices are permitted. And then finally, closing and re-entering open sessions require a majority vote. Next up, for public hearings and open forums, this is not something that we typically do in Senate, but is an option. So if, say, a senator wants to pass forward a resolution, they don't need to have a public hearing, but the author can hold one if they'd like at their discretion. So if it's a resolution where they're looking to get support from the student body, they can host a tabling event or do a survey to some extent to push out that information and get more students involved to strengthen their resolution. And then the communications director can be brought in the loop on this to advertise this public hearing or open forum survey, those kinds of things alike. Moving along to referendums, we have binding and non-binding. So this goes on our Senate elections. We just had one in the spring. The one in the spring was considered a non-binding referendum. And this was a question included on the ballot during an election with the intended outcome being purely to gauge student opinion on the topic. And because it is non-binding, results do not need to produce like a specific outcome. So we could use it, for example, on a piece of legislation or on a resolution to help strengthen an argument. But having that question on that ballot does not mean that something needs to be done. There are, however, binding referendums where it's a question included on a ballot during an election, but the results must be acted upon. For example, back in, I think it was 2020 or so, there was a binding referendum question about Sonotag, and if students would be willing to increase their tuition to accommodate that building being built. So that is something where it was an actionable item, and because enough students had voted yes on it, they were increasing tuition for X amount of years to come to pay off that building price. And then finally, we have office hours. So senators are required, I believe, to do 1 hour a week, and then it is directors and coordinators that do 2. And those occur between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. And then the hours are to be posted on the Student Senate website for students to meet with Senate members if they are so inclined and have questions about how our university runs. And then excused absences are granted by personnel. finally, last slide, we have absences. So the personnel is to track weekly attendance, and the president and vice president should be informed on this. All absences should be communicated to the personnel director. This is purely by like email or a text, whatever method the personnel director chooses for that. And then unexcused absences from General Assembly meetings count as one unexcused absence, and then any unexcused office hours or commission meetings will count as half of an excused absence. And then members will be considered for removal when they accumulate 5 unexcused absences. However, one thing that I failed to put in here is that if there are an excessive number of excused absences, that is still something that should be considered for by the personnel director and then president and vice president if some kind of sanction needs to be delivered on that front. And then finally, we have personnel removal. So a resolution must be drafted and brought to either internal affairs or the administrative committee for review. And a sanction will be delivered by a simple majority. This sanction could be anything. This could be not attending General Assembly for a couple of meetings. Or it could be having to meet with the personnel director for X amount of visits to make sure that they are keeping on track with their attendance, things along those lines. However, in our most serious case, we consider removal. So if removal is appropriate, it must be conducted as it is outlined in the bylaws. So this can be removal by the president, impeachment, academic ineligibility, or unexcused absences. But for the impeachment process specifically, we have outlined that a member that is considered for removal may attend open forum and speak on their behalf before the resolution is introduced. The agenda will then be amended to introduce the resolution for removal immediately following the open forum. So that takes precedence over every other piece of legislation that we bring to the table. And then finally, after the introduction and question and answer period, we move into closed session. Everyone in the peanut gallery will be asked to leave, and then debate and a secret ballot vote will happen from there. That is all I have. I know that was a lot. Are there any questions? Any questions at all? Okay. Seeing none. Give me a sec here while I get back to our agenda. All right. We will now move into open forum. Is there anyone here for open forum? Yes. Would you like to come to the front? Please introduce yourself again.
Hi everyone, I'm Sam. I was in this once. I just wanted to bring to the table that at least I think this is an important issue, but at least in the bathrooms that I frequent, the gender neutral bathrooms in Phillips and Haas, there's nowhere to dispose of menstrual products. I hear that this is a problem in other locations on campus too, even in some women's bathrooms. I think that this is a health hazard to students and staff, especially custodial staff. I think it's an accessibility concern, and a potential plumbing issue too, which makes this, I think, pretty important for sign up to address. Thanks.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Hang on, is there any questions? We should take a quick questionnaire. Any questions for that? Open forum? Okay, seeing none. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Is there anyone else here for open forum? Anyone for open forum? Seeing none, we will now move into approving the meeting minutes from April 13th. Are there any amendments or corrections to last week's meeting minutes? Seeing none, we will now look into reports, beginning with the president. Good evening, everyone. I hope you all had a great week. I myself had a rather busy one. Monday through Thursday, I had the opportunity to sit on Chancellor finalist luncheons alongside directors Keller and Shepard. That was an amazing insight into what a chancellor does and what they would provide at UW Eau Claire. Getting to ask questions about their core beliefs gives me a lot of hope for what the future of our institution holds. I also got to attend the elections committee to verify the results of student senate elections last week. A huge congrats to both President-elect Shepard and Vice President-elect Byrne. I can't wait to see how you both lead the 70th session. And finally, I also had the pleasure of convening internal affairs one final time to go over operating policies, which you will all see on the floor tonight. There is one final thing I want to mention before I conclude this report. This is our last meeting with our full body for the 69th session. Later this evening, senators will be sworn out and the new 70th session senators will be sworn in. I just want to thank you all for your service and commitment to this body. I am incredibly grateful of all the work that has been done. I hope you all have the chance to attend our end-of-year banquet, otherwise known as the Parleys. This will be at 3 p.m. in Dakota on Sunday. That's all for now. I hope you all have a great rest of your week. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out or stop by my office. My door is always open for one more week, that is. Thank you, and I yield. Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Seeing none, we will now move on to the report from the Vice President.
Oh boy. What's up, Googles? I hope you're all having a Google-tastic start to the week. Playing that one back. Alongside my usual check-ins, I've officially started the long process of transition, putting together materials and slowly clearing out my office in the Senate area. By clearing out, I mean discovering that just how many papers, notes, and random things I managed to collect over the past year. I feel like I've almost tripled the amount of Scoopies I have in my office, but it's definitely bittersweet. This role has meant a lot to me, but also feels like the right moment for change and prepare for the next group of leaders to step in. Instead of doing a usual report tonight, I want to pause and recognize what this moment represents. For some of the people sitting, this is this horseshoe in this room, this is the last time you'll be here in this role. At the same time, we have new and returning members stepping in, ready to take on this responsibility. It's a unique moment where reflection and anticipation exist in the same place, and that's something worth taking a moment to appreciate. To those of you finishing your time in Student Senate, thank you, genuinely. The time and effort you put into this body goes far beyond what people see on the surface. It's the long meetings, the behind-the-scenes conversations, the moments where you chose to speak up, and even the moments where you just showed up when it would have been easier not to. You've represented students, made tough decisions, and contributed to something that will outlast your time here. Even if it doesn't always feel like it, the work you've done matters, and it has made a difference. You should leave here proud of that. And to those just getting started, this is where it begins for you. You're stepping into a space that depends on people being willing to engage, to question, to care. You don't need to have all the answers right away, and you won't. Trust me, you will not. But what matters is that you're willing to learn and contribute. Take advantage of this opportunity. Build relationships, find your voice, and don't be afraid to take ownership of the role you've been given. The impact you make here is entirely up to you, what you choose to put into it. At the end of the day, Student Senate is bigger than any one person, any one position, or any one year. It's built on the idea that each group leaves it a little better for the next. That's the legacy of this space. Not individual recognition, but collective progress. So whether this is your last meeting or your first, I hope you take a second to reflect on what this experience has meant to you and what it can mean moving forward. For those of us leaving, this isn't just about closing a chapter, it's about knowing that you're a part of something that mattered, something that challenged you, and something that helped shape who you are. And for those of you continuing on, it's now your turn to carry that forward. And if there's one thing I hope we all take with us, is this. The work we did here was never just about meetings or motions, it was about the people. The students we represented, the peers we worked alongside, and the community we helped build. That's what lasts. Thank you all very much. Best of luck in your future endeavors, whether it's in Senate or not. I yield.
Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Okay. Seeing none, we will now move on to the Communications Commission report with Director Kurtler.
What's up, guys? We had our last Communications Commission meeting this past Friday, and with respect to that, I'd like to say a few words for a couple of my comms members who won't be returning next session. Sam Stumo, I have so deeply appreciated the perspective and vibes that you brought this year, not only to my commission, but to all of Senate. You always have opinions, and you're never scared to voice them, which I love, even if sometimes whatever you're saying is just to rage bait me. Aside from being a valuable member of Student Senate and my commission, I'm very grateful to have gotten to know you as a person this year. You're one of the funniest people I know, and you are so enjoyable to be around, and I'm happy that our paths crossed this year because your presence has made Senate a better place for me. Though I'm sad to see you go, I know you're going to do amazing with whatever you choose to do post-graduation. Please don't be a stranger, and please always respond to the Instagram reels that I send you. Next one is for Isaac Organic, who sadly isn't here tonight, but I'll say it anyway. Isaac, you are the biggest rage baiter and gaslighter I've ever met in my life. However, you are also an asset to Student Senate and my commission as well as a treasured friend. I'm so very glad that I bullied you into becoming my friend when you joined Senate in the fall, and I'm even more glad that I somehow convinced you to come to comms this semester. I'm sad to know that you're not coming back in as a senator later tonight, but I've appreciated getting to know you both in and out of Senate, and I know that whatever you choose to do next will be great, even if it's not within this body. Overall, I'd like to thank everyone who was a part of communications this session. Whether you went to one meeting or all of them, or popped by Motivational Monday once in a while, or collaborated with me on projects, I appreciate each and every person who used their voice to help us better the communication on campus. Lastly, reminder to everyone that applications to become a director or a coordinator are open, and that needs to be turned in by Thursday night. I hope everyone has felt oh so motivated this Monday. I yield.
Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Seeing none, we'll now move into the Equity and Student Matters report with Director Kelly.
Hola, hola. Happy Monday on this fine April 20th evening. This week will be ESM's last meeting of the 69th session. We will do a quick wrap up of everything we have accomplished this year and all that we have set to be accomplished in the following year. After that, we are going to have a fun little party to celebrate this great commission and all the great work that we've done this session. Following right after ESM will be ecotherapy event Sunset S'mores at the Chippewa Lounge Fire Pit. Come watch the sunset, maybe eat some s'mores, and drink some dirty soda. Be sure to continue keeping up with Monday Matters for Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Lastly, director and coordinator positions are now open until this Thursday. If you have any questions or any interest in being the ESM director, or even if you're thinking about being the intern, please don't hesitate to reach out to either myself or Director Campbell. We would both love to give some insight on our jobs, as we have been so grateful to lead this commission. That's all from me. I yield.
Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Seeing none, we'll now move into the Finance Commission report with President-elect Shepherd. Hello, everyone. I hope you all had a good weekend. This week, I started meeting with all of our ORS activities to discuss the fiscal year 2025 audit results, our new auditing written plan, and ORS activity constitution, as well as any issues we want to address regarding the fiscal year 2028 budget request process prior to next fall. We have completed 8 of the 20 meetings so far, and we are hoping to have them all done prior to our Finance Commission meeting on Thursday. So if you'd like to hear updates on those meetings and what we talked about, our last Finance Commission meeting of the year will be on Thursdays at 5 p.m. in Council of Davies 260. Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Seeing none, we'll now move into the Information Technology Commission report with Director Hagan.
Hello, everybody. This week in ITC was an eventful one, as we are getting applications for our innovation budget. So far, we've received 5 separate applications totaling tens of thousands of dollars. If you would like to lend your voice towards what application should be accepted and funded, please feel free to join us at our next meeting on Wednesday, 9 a.m. in the Senior Conference Room for our likely last meeting of the semester. Thank you, and I yield.
Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Seeing none, we'll now move into the Intergovernmental Affairs report with Director Edsler.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you all had a great weekend and are just as excited about Noah Kahan's album coming out on Friday as I am. You see me crying around the office, just don't give me a pat on the back and wish me good luck. This week in IGA, we're going to finalize the Spring Block Party, which, as a reminder, is April 30th from 4 to 7 p.m., as well as celebrate our last meeting of this session. We'll have food, games, and probably a lot of critiquing government officials in a nonpartisan manner, of course. And we will once again not be in our usual meeting place and will rather be in Bader instead. Thank you all, Godspeed, and I yield.
Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Seeing none, we'll now move into the Student Health and Wellness report with Director Schulte.
Hello, everyone. I hope your week is off to a great start. Last week, the SHW Commission reviewed the website draft for the Wellness Resource Map and continued planning for the Spring Health Fair. As the session draws to a close, we are focusing on finalizing our remaining projects this week. And that concludes my update from SHW. I yield.
Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Seeing none, we'll now move on to the Student Office of Sustainability report with Director Chapman.
Apologies, I'm way in the back because I'm charging my computer. Hello all. I've been busy this past week from Thursday to Sunday in Milwaukee for an AHEC program. You'll be hearing from me a bit tonight as I'm introducing SOS's annual Pack It Up and Pass It On bill, and we'll be suspending the bylaws to be voted on tonight so that all current senators will have the chance to vote on this matter in our current 69th session. Overall, SOS has been busy finishing up last proposals before the end of the year. Tomorrow, we will be voting on 3 proposals. Come by and check out what I and SOS as a commission do. As my time comes to an end, and as others have already mentioned this meeting, my position is also open for application until this Thursday. I'd love to facilitate position understanding for the next Student Senate SOS Director. In ecotherapy events this week, we have a stretch of 3 events, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. ESM-sponsored event, which Director Keller mentioned earlier this meeting as well, is tomorrow. Sunset S'mores will be held at the Riverside Terrace from 6 to 7:30. Earth Day, being this Wednesday, we will have our plant painting and potting event. I always can't say that. Happening 11 to 2 p.m. in the campus mall, so come get your plants. And ending off with our day on the lawn at Towers Field from 4 to 6 on Thursday, with lawn games and fun in the sun. Lots left to do with only about a week or so I have left. Wild. That's all. SOS Sprout. I yield.
Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report?
Hi, just to clear up some confusion because of scheduling, the ecotherapy event will be Wednesday instead of tomorrow, Tuesday. Just so everybody knows. Bye.
Are there any questions for that report? Seeing none, the report from the Student Organization Commission has been yielded to the minutes. We will now move on to the University Activities Commission report with Director Berger.
Good evening, everyone. Hang in there with me because this report is kind of long. UAC's calendar is speeding up and we're fitting it all in these last couple weeks. On Wednesday, we have Blues Bingo collabing with SOS for Earth Day in the cabin, 5 to 6:30 p.m. On Friday, we have Balderdash performing in the cabin, 6 to 8 p.m. Also on Friday, Superman will be playing in Woodland Theater, 7 to 9 p.m. Come if you're really interested in becoming the next superhero yourself with a cape and a mask. On Saturday, we have Crimson Theory playing in Davies Marketplace, 6 to 8 p.m. I hope you all know or have seen some posters by now, but next week is Blue Gold Street Fest, our last week-long festival. On Monday, we'll start by handing out some hot dogs outside of Davies, 11 to 1. On Tuesday, we're bringing back our beloved petting zoo in Phillips Yard, 12 to 2. On Wednesday, we'll have Blues Bingo with the same theme as Springfest. There you can get some oversized UWEC merch, a skateboard, a blue JBL speaker, student design duck hat, or some other fun items. On Thursday, we have our yearly Dash and Bash event, 4 to 7 p.m., starting at Chimble Lounge. This is similar to Amazing Race, where you'll be given clues leading you to every stop along our path. You can sign up by accessing the QR code on Dash and Bash posters or in the bio of UWEC involvement on Instagram. The first place prize is Nintendo Switches, second place are Stitch Legos, and third, in a wallet. Each person of each team will get the same prize. Every sign-up will also get a Nito and an ice cream sandwich just for participating. Next Saturday, we have the Sidewalk Social on Towers Field, 1 to 3 p.m. There will be tons of free food, games, and just good vibes. None of this would be possible without Senator Zapp and Rebecca Conrad largely, and Lily DeWan and Liv Bauer for Dash and Bash. Our chairs are incredibly talented and dedicated to having fun events for all students, and that deserves a big thanks. In other news, our UAC chair application is due tonight. It is accessible on Handshake until midnight. All positions are paid and expected to work 10 hours per week on average. If you have any questions, please let me know. I've personally been working on transition materials, Fall Blues Bingo, a new event series coming up this fall, following up with event collaborators over the semester, and conducting interviews. That's it for me. Have a great week. Adios.
Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Seeing none, we'll now move into a special report from the mascot coordinator, Coordinator Clay.
Hey guys, during the past week, I've been finalizing my transition materials as well as working with orientation at Blue here at all the freshman orientations this summer. I'm still looking for some summer workers, so if you are interested or know anyone who is, please email me or find me after the meeting. I've also had the opportunity of working with a group of senior journalism students who are writing their capstone article on the mascot program. They'll be interviewing me as well as a handful of my employees to understand how the program is run and the history behind it. Stay tuned for more updates on that. Besides Senate work, I've mostly been spending most of my time enjoying the nice weather outside. I've also clocked over 25 hours in the new Tomodachi Life game. Thanks, Senator Dunlap, for that. And then, yeah, in terms of mascot news, besides the typical appearances each week, we'll be hanging out with campus ambassadors for the final admitted students day this semester on Friday. There'll also be a bark break around the same time, so you guys should all go to that because it's an awesome, amazing event. Looking into next week, Blue will be attending at least one event every single day, so look out for our favorite Blue bird. As always, if you have any questions for me, you can email me or find me at my desk. Thank you, and I yield.
Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Seeing none, we'll now move into a special report from the housing coordinator with Coordinator Shrivas.
Good evening, everyone. As the year winds down, I have less and less to report on. But last week we had the spring community walkthrough, and I got a few ideas for future possible initiatives for next year. I'm also finishing up planning for a tenants' rights workshop, which will be at the beginning of next semester. So I'm getting all that planned out before any turnover of any positions. So next year's housing coordinator can be ready to go with that event. And then most of my final work has just been making sure that there's enough work and initiatives for the housing coordinator to work on and implement next year, aside from the regular events. Setting up next semester for success. Thank you, and I yield.
Are there any questions for that report? Any questions for that report? Seeing none, we have exhausted reports and we'll move into old business. Seeing as we have no old business, we will move into new business, beginning with 69-R-13, in support for adopting the Student Senate operating policies. And I will be introducing this one. All right. As previously stated in the presentation, this resolution is to officially adopt the operating policies so that the next session has a guide for the general operations of Senate in much greater details than what the bylaws provides. While I will not be addressing everything in this introduction that is covered in the presentation, this set of operating policies covers the inner workings of commissions, coordinator roles, committees, absences, and personnel removal. Notably, the Administrative Committee is a new committee made up of the President, Vice President, Personnel Director, Program Manager, and Senate Faculty Advisor, which will meet at least once a semester to discuss progress in Senate and have the ability to hear misconduct reports and plays in internal affairs. In addition, the impeachment process has been fleshed out more to address what occurs if a resolution is brought to GA. For instance, the member considered for removal may attend open forum and speak on their behalf before the resolution is introduced. Then the agenda is amended to introduce the resolution for removal immediately following open forum. And finally, there will be a secret ballot vote in closed session after the introduction and question answer period. In terms of absences, it is the personnel director's responsibility to track weekly attendance and inform the president and vice president of excessive absences. Unexcused absences from GA count as a full absence, while unexcused office hours and commission meetings and committees are considered half an absence. Members are then considered for removal after 5 absences in total. Please let me know if there are any questions or things I can elaborate on further. Thank you, and I yield. Are there any questions for that introduction? Any questions? Seeing none, we will now move on to a speakers list. Is there anyone for the speakers list? President-elect Shepherd.
I will be voting this resolution up. A lot of work has gone behind these operating policies, not only this spring, but also in fall. I think it's really important that we get these passed, considering they haven't been officially voted on ever by Student Senate, when that is the precedent that was set. So I'll be voting this up.
Is there anyone else for the speakers list? Anyone for the speakers list? Director Bird.
I will also be voting, this resolution up. I think it's really important to set a precedent and kind of lay a foundation for anyone who is sworn into these roles for next semester, so they're not, coming in with no idea of what's going on. Kind of laying it out in less of a formal way than bylaws is really important too, so you're not having to like cut down all of the extra wording. So there's a full fleshed out version of what they need to know in this. So yeah, I think it's really important and I will be voting this up. I yield.
Is there anyone else for the speakers list? Senator Bowman.
I will also be voting this up, saying that I believe it was the requirement to have operating policies every year was made in 2018 and we haven't passed them yet. I feel like this is a really good step forward for actually following the rules we've set for ourselves and beyond that. The fact that this is presented to GA, it's an amazing way to create that clarity about what every commission will do to the entire body. So I will be voting this up. I yield.
Is there anyone else for the speakers list? Senator Stubo.
Get your steps in. Total agreement with somebody else in this room who spoke previously. Maybe immediately before me. Well, thank you. Perfect. For two reasons. One, I think we're well overdue on passing these. The second thing, I think it's really important that we have the inclusion of a way to remove senators. The impeachment process, I think, is something that's really important, and the fact that that wasn't included previously is something that was a big shock for me to learn. I yield.
Coordinator Clay.
Hi guys. I'm also gonna vote this up as someone who kind of came into their role this semester without much of a guideline of what to do. I think if I had this kind of document, it would have saved me a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. So, with that, I think going into the future, having this kind of like outline for every single role, in addition to the transition materials that we get, is just really helpful. So yeah, I yield.
Is there anyone else for the speakers list? Anyone for the speakers list? Seeing none, we will now go into a placard vote on 69-R-13. All those in favor, please raise your placards.
One more time, guys. One more time. Okay, I guess I'll get it.
We're not going. It's really hard in here. It's fine. 28.
All those opposed.
Thanks, teacher.
And abstained. It was 88-0-2. That resolution passes. Next up on the agenda, we have 69-R-14. In continued support of allergen accessible dining options. Dining option in on-campus dining facilities. Is there an author willing to introduce? Senator Moffitt.
Is this thing working? Good evening, everyone. My name is Max Moffitt, and I am an on-campus student senator. Tonight, the Dining Committee Chair, Sienna Emerson, and I are introducing a resolution regarding allergy-free dining accessibility on campus. In this year alone, I have received numerous complaints from students regarding accessibility to allergy-free dining options and the safety of these options at on-campus dining facilities. While our university does offer some services to support students with food allergens, there are many things that could be improved
to create a safer and more equitable dining experience for all students. For instance, despite having to pay the same amount for meal plans, students who rely on Simple Servings, which is a station in Hilltop that provides allergy-free meals in the afternoon and evening, do not have access to the station on Fridays or Saturdays, which are also days where options for food in general are limited due to other options either closing early or not being open at all. Students with food allergies also face safety concerns from cross-contamination or problems due to food mislabeling. For example, another station that students with food allergens use is a pantry space called the Simple Zone, which includes appliances and a fridge stocked with gluten-free pantry products designed to prevent cross-contamination for gluten-free students. Currently, this area lacks sufficient security measures to properly prevent cross-contamination, and there have been instances where appliances have been thrown out due to them being used on food with potential allergens. There have also been many instances where food is mislabeled. More specifically, ingredient lists for food products fail to mention certain allergens, especially in products with substitute ingredients. This can lead to very dangerous situations for many students with food allergies. Labeling on some food products sometimes also doesn't get properly switched out when different fruit products are served in the same day. And some packaged meals also possess overly vague labeling that isn't very specific to the types of allergens the food possesses. These issues can pose serious safety concerns for students with food allergens and also creates an inequitable dining experience where students with food allergens are forced to pay the same amount of money for meal plans, yet have insufficient amount of safe dining options when compared to students with no food allergens. Many of these issues have also been brought forward to the Student Dining Committee, which attempts to obtain a broad perspective from the student body with voices from student athletes, on-campus students, and off-campus students. From this, Sienna, Emerson, and I have been able to meet and brainstorm ideas of how to make the dining experience easier for all students. After brainstorming and creating a more concrete list of problems we wanted to address, we had a meeting with Johnny Arnold, who is the head of dining experience, to discuss the feasibility of our ideas and discuss efforts which are already taking place to address the current issue. We also began examinations of other UW system schools in our meeting with dining services, where we gained more insight on how we could potentially solve these issues. Upon getting more information and following these brainstorming sessions, we created this resolution with additional feedback from the Student Health and Wellness Commission. In attachment A, you can find a list of proposed changes from our discussion with UWEC Dining Services. It is important to note that these proposed changes are not concrete, and the purpose of the attachment is to demonstrate the fact that solutions to many of these issues listed in the resolution are currently being discussed. The passage of this resolution will reinforce efforts and discussions to find feasible solutions to ongoing issues within dining on campus and put more pressure on dining to address complaints by UWEC students. The passage of this resolution also shows that we, as representatives of the student body, care about addressing all issues brought forward by UWEC students, even if the issues only impact smaller groups of students. It is also important to mention that going into next year, UWEC will be holding its RFP process, which is the university process of selecting a new food service vendor in collaboration with WW System School. By addressing food allergen issues now, we can make sure our future food service vendor will have sufficient options to provide a more equitable dining experience for students with food allergens. I want to thank everyone for sitting with me through this long introduction, and I am open to any and all questions. Thank you, and I yield.
Are there any questions for that introduction? Director Berg.
I first want to say thank you for bringing this forward tonight. I know this is just a first step and a resolution, but what do next steps look like to you as you come into the 70th session?
That's a great question. We don't have anything too concrete laid out following this resolution, but I can guarantee with the passage of this resolution, as I said before, there's going to be more pressure and reinforcement of effort to collaborate with dining services going forward in the future to find feasible solutions to a lot of these issues.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Senator Mapes.
Thank you so much for that introduction. I just had a question about, like, I'm looking at the proposed solutions. Which of those do you think is the most plausible, or like, which one do you think would work the best?
That's a great question. I think for me, the most feasible and plausible is working on the mislabeling of food products, particularly in Hilltop and Davies. I think there are a lot of easy ways we can implement kind of like an easy to switch labeling system for foods that get swapped throughout the day or that contain substitute products. And we can also like begin examinations in the chain of communication from Sodexo to our stockers and chefs at those tables to create a better plan on how they're managing when food products have substitute products in them. That way they don't get listed as the same food product, but with the like original ingredients. Instead, they're listing like the potential allergen that they have instead due to the substitute product.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Coordinator Clay?
Thank you for the introduction. My main question is, so under like the simple zone, within your proposed changes, you have something there about card or ID access, like with the blue IDs, like through like camera scores and stuff like that. Is there anything in place at Hilltop at all that uses that already, or is that just a totally new idea?
That's a good question. There used to be something in Hilltop that worked under that system, which was the simple zone. However, I think mainly due to factors of like students feeling alienated using that space and feeling very separated from the rest of the student body, having to like scan into the specific area, it was removed and they placed the simple zone kind of next to simple serving. But there are no other systems that utilize card access for food allergens in particular currently in Hilltop.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Senator Stewart?
Hey, thanks for bringing this forward. I really appreciate it. As a guy with a peanut allergy, I understand all these things. I really appreciate you bringing them to people to the forefront. I also especially appreciate like the way this is all laid out with the problem and the solutions. I think that's really great. My question though specifically, the thing about simple servings was news to me that it's only open 5 days a week. Is it something that you brought to dining? Like, have you confronted them directly about this?
Yes, I have. And it's been an issue that they've been aware of for a while. It's mainly due to like staffing issues, which being able to find someone to hire for only 2 days of the week gets pretty difficult. And I will speak on behalf of dining as well. They were gearing up for the RFP process this year to switch food vendors, but due to the switch with the Board of Regents, I think they mandated that there's a collaboration between a bunch of UW system schools that are going to switch food vendors at the same time. So we ended up being with Sodexo again. So this issue may have been being addressed this year when we were going into our next food vendor, but that didn't end up happening because we got Sodexo again.
Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Move to amend.
Oh, not yet.
Not yet.
Senator Hubbard?
Hello, thank you so much for that introduction. I was wondering if you have a plan for how you'll inform the student body of any changes made in the future. I see that you have mentioned dining pamphlets. Do you feel like that's something that will happen, or what are your thoughts on informing the students?
That's a great question. I think the dining pamphlets is going to be our main form of communication. Our plan is to make these not only for like new changes that are happening, but to better advertise to students all their options for allergy-free food dining options on campus, and have these not only distributed to current students, but hopefully distributed to students or incoming students during orientation as well. Other than that, that's like our main way of informing students. But we'd be open to more suggestions, and we'll probably be planning more forms of communication as we continue discussions with dining services and more of these solutions they're implemented in the following year.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, on follow-up, or follow-up?
On follow-up?
So who would be in charge of like kind of making this?
That's a great question.
Would
I
you like
think-
more information?
Yes.
So these pamphlets would be made from dining services in collaboration with marketing of Sodexo. And Sodexo marketing, Mariana, she does a really good job of pushing out mass messaging and information about the different dining changes that are going.
Does that answer your question? Are there any other questions? Any other questions? Seeing none, we will now move to the speakers list on 69-R-14.
Move to amend.
Oh. Just listen to that.
Line 20, change allergens to allergy.
Seeing as that is editorial, that stands as approved by the chair.
Move to amend.
On amendment.
We got it.
Line 26. It says that this was passed unanimously through SHW in 2016.
Good year.
We didn't even have SHW back then.
All right, are there any
Oh.
other? Seeing none, Director Jenkins.
My speaking time to Sienna Emerson.
While I do not have voting power, I would really like to stress that this resolution is very important to us. These issues on campus have been occurring since I've been a student here, and I'm really proud of the work that we've been able to do within the student dining committee. But there's still more work to be done. While collaborating with Johnny Arnold, I really think that the passage of this resolution would help create change, knowing that this is backed up by Student Senate. Again, this is really important going forward on campus and setting a precedence for student input and actionable change that we are all able to make. If you are interested in being involved in conversations after tonight, I'm more than happy to chat or get you in contact with Johnny Arnold. Thank you. And
Move to amend.
On amendment.
The distribution list needs to be updated to the current version. This has Teresa O'Halloran and not Mary Hoffman in there.
Seeing as that is editorial, that stands as approved by the chair. Is there anyone else for the speakers list? Director Feller.
I will be voting this up. I would like to commend both, all three authors, Senator Moffett, Student Dining Chair Sienna Emerson, and Director Schulte for this resolution. As a member of the Student Dining Committee, this has been something that we've kind of been talking about for a really long time. And as a student with other friends who have these allergies, it's very important to accommodate for them and to advocate for all of our students. I think this resolution does just exactly that. So I will be voting this up. I yield.
Senator Harada.
I'll be voting this resolution up. As someone that knows people that have celiac, I understand how severe of an issue it is to not have access to food and have access to resources where you can like kind of see the ingredients lists of specific things. And I think given that too, and given this idea surrounding creating an accessible food environment, especially when it comes to food, especially like freshman year two, your food options are already limited on weekends and stuff like that. So providing more accessible options, I think is really important. yeah, so I'll be voting this resolution up. I yield.
Director Schulte.
Hey everyone, I will also be voting this up. First, I'd just like to commend both Senator Moffett and Chair Sienna Emerson for bringing this to SHW. Unfortunately, this semester, because of my schedule, I can't attend dining committee, and I really appreciate that they thought of SHW to bring this through and for us to look at it too. I think this is a great resolution, especially to improve accessibility efforts within dining and also just create a more equitable system for everyone. So, so everyone can get more food for money. And yeah, I will.
Senator Meeks.
I will be voting this up. I can could tell you like the introduction of the authors put in so much effort and time into this proposal, which just means so much. I feel like students with allergies should be able to have food 7 days a week, like whenever the place is open. It's really important that during a time like when you are so like strapped for cash that you are able to eat at the facilities that you're paying to eat at, and shouldn't be expected to use extra like money to go out and buy food that is safe for you to eat. You should never have to worry about if you would be able to eat dinner tonight. So.
Senator Feltes.
First I'd just like to commend the authors, Senator Moffett, and then obviously dining director Sanderson. I remember when they brought, like, when Senator Moffett brought this up, he was so passionate about this, it was insane. Like, I think he spent like the entire hour just talking about allergies. It was crazy. So I'm very glad to see this finally coming to fruition and seeing him like working so hard on all of this. And I also think it's really important that all of our students have safe and accessible food to eat. And I will be voting this up.
Director Edsler.
I'm gonna keep this really short because I feel like I don't want to repeat what other people have said. I just want to, I'm going to anyways. Commend the authors for all the work that they put into this. I think this is a great piece of legislation that kind of, to a certain extent, builds off of legislation that we've, other sessions have passed, in the past. And yeah, that's just great work overall. I'll be voting it up.
Senator Lee.
I will be voting this up also. I would first like to commend the authors for their thoughtfulness behind this. I also think that the simple yet effective proposal showcased a commitment to safe food, student health, and equitable dining for all. Thank you. I yield.
Senator Moffett.
I will obviously be voting this resolution up. I would like to first off commend Dining Chair Sienna Emerson and SHW Director Rachel Schulte for being there to help provide information, guide me along with this resolution, be there to assist whenever like I ask any questions or anything like that. It was super helpful. Just be there in general to ease my conscience with this whole process. I'll be voting this resolution up because I not only believe that it is really important that all students, again, have an equitable dining experience that is not only equitable but safe. I also feel like this is a great step for Team Senate to show that we are representing all students here on the campus.
Is there anyone else to comment? Without objection to the chair, I would like to add myself to the speakers list for this one. And while I won't be able to vote on this, I do want to, first of all, commend the authors on this because I think this is a really important piece of legislation. I am someone with celiac disease, and so having these kinds of proposed options my freshman year while I was living on campus would have made so much difference coming into my college experience. My entire reason for why I got involved in the Senate my freshman year was because of the lack of allergen information posted anywhere around campus. So I'm so proud to see that more strides have been being made, and I really appreciate the authors' continued work on this well beyond my time as a freshman, because I think that would have made a lot of difference there. So I appreciate all the work that's gone into this. Is there anyone else for the speakers list? Anyone for the speakers list? Seeing none, we will now go into a flag vote on 69-R-14. All those in favor, please raise your placards. All those opposed? Abstained. In a vote 26 to 0 to 2, that resolution passes. Next up, we have 69-R-15. In recognition of interim Chancellor Mike Carney's service to UW Eau Claire and its student body, is there an author willing to introduce? Vice President Cardell.
Good evening. This resolution is brought forward to recognize and thank Dr. Michael Carney for his leadership during a significant period of transition at the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire. Leadership changes can create uncertainty, but they also require individuals who understand the institution and can step with consistency and purpose. Dr. Carney did exactly that, serving as interim chancellor with a clear focus on maintaining stability while continuing to move the university forward. This moment also provides an opportunity to reflect on the broader scope of his work at UW Eau Claire. Over more than 25 years, Dr. Carney has served his university in a wide range of roles, each contributing to the academic and student experience in meaningful ways. His leadership has not only been defined by titles, but by a sustained commitment to the success of students and the strength of the institution as a whole. As his time as interim chancellor comes to a close, Student Senate, as the official voice of the student body, is bringing this resolution forward to formally acknowledge that service. His description of UW Eau Claire as abnormal in the right ways reflects a shared understanding of what makes this campus unique, particularly its strong commitment to student success. This resolution serves as a way to recognize that impact and express appreciation for his years of leadership and dedication to the Google community. Thank you. I'll answer any questions and I yield.
Are there any questions for that introduction? Any questions? Seeing none, we will now move on to the speakers list. Is there anyone for the speakers list?
I move to adopt by consensus.
Second.
Yeah. You have a second?
What?
Yeah, that's a vote. So, yeah, if I could clarify what. Oh, clarify. What that motion basically is we're gonna skip speakers list and just vote unanimously on this. So is there a motion to just skip right to it and vote unanimously on this resolution? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, raise your hands.
Oh, wait, it's just one vote to in the
Okay.
like to deny it, right? Is that
Yeah.
right?
So we're just gonna skip it right to it. Yep. So
Oh, at least the vote.
we'll just say it passed unanimously through that. We kind of skipped.
We were in
So, yeah,
favor of the
all good.
motion.
Oh, I thought he was
We did.
counting
Just gotta
no.
pass it.
No.
Good move there. So yeah, just to sorry, that has never been I've never seen that used in my time here. Basically that was like kind of a cool move that you can use to basically just go, let's just skip this and it's a unanimous thing. I'll just break probably pro here. I will say this is just kind of a tradition that is always done whenever there's a chancellor that is coming in and then leaving. We had this last year with previous chancellor and then Mike Carney was our interim. So I think due to just the length of the meeting and all the things, all of a sudden just chose to do that. So we're just gonna move on if we're okay with that. If there's one, like all it is basically if there's one person against it, that would shoot it down basically. So is there one person in here that's like, I want to talk about this. I want to basically like go through the normal procedure. Otherwise, that just passes unanimously. So speak up now if you're against it. Okay, I'll move on.
Thank you.
Yeah, literally.
It's ball
Great,
knowledge.
great move there. That was great.
Ball.
Seriously, going out from your last meeting with a bang.
I don't know. I ought to try out these things.
Wait, what can we do next?
Moving right along. 69-B-17. Pack it up and pass it on. Is there an author willing to introduce? Director Chapman.
I just thought it'd be easier.
Thank you very much.
All right, I thought that'd be easier. Hello all, this is SOS's end of year annual event. Pack it up and pass it on. This event is during the last 2 days of finals week while students are moving out and is available to all students, although mainly utilized by off-campus students looking to dispose of their larger home items. So instead of costly curbside dumping that would all end up in landfills, this event allows for sustainability in item recycling and the reuse of items. This is a large operation in the Water Street parking lot across the street from the Haas Fine Arts Center during May 14th and 15th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., allowing students to recycle mattresses, electronics, and scrap metal. The goal is repurposing intact furniture and storage to be donated to local charities for student walk-up claims, as well as storage for next academic year. For free items to be given to students returning and incoming. Last year, SOS saved items of interest in the Student Sustainability Resource Center, the SSRC, in Davies First Floor, across from the pantry. During the summer, these were stored and were given to students in the fall. This, unfortunately, is not an option for storage, as the SSRC is now in collaboration with the University Transportation as a bus stop. Therefore, we will be unable to store the items in this space. Therefore, in order to still provide free items for students, both incoming and returning, we have found a summer storage container to make this possible, which is the main addition from this bill this year than from last year. Overall, our Pack It Up and Pass It On event has been very successful and growing every year, whereas we're excited to make this an even bigger event this summer with this edition. Thank you all, and I will answer any and all questions you may have. I yield.
Are there any questions for that introduction? Director Etzler.
Great, thank you for that introduction. I'm just wondering, and forgive me if this is out there or you mentioned it, I'm just completely spacing. How much has this event cost in the past?
Yeah, that is a great question. As I mentioned, this event has been kind of growing and its success has been more, which is fantastic. So I believe 2 years ago it was 9,000, last year it was 10,000, and this year specifically because we are getting that summer storage, it's now, the request is for 14,000.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does, thank you.
Are there any other questions?
I move to suspend the rules and vote on this tonight.
Second.
Hang on. Point of order, we're not there yet. We're still in a question. Point of order. That, what will happen is speakers list, you want to do that. We're not doing that.
Thank
So
you.
save that.
Thank you,
I think we're
parliamentarian.
already
How do we get to
planning
the
to do that.
speakers list without doing that?
Are there any other questions?
Oh, yeah.
Senator Henry.
Thank you. Where would you be located the container? It would be on campus or off campus?
Is this specifically for the summer storage container? correct?
Yes.
The storage container will be off campus and it will not be stored in like the Haas parking lot where that event is happening. We're contracting this out to someone local in Eau Claire where we're gonna rent a storage container and they will transport it to like their lot and it will be brought back at the beginning of the fall semester for retrieval and like an event for free items for students.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question? Are there any other questions? Any other questions? Seeing as that is a bill that will be reintroduced.
I move to suspend the rules and vote on this bill tonight.
Yeah, you did get
Is there a
Second that. Second that. Great idea.
All in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Your vote is 27%. That motion passes. So we will now be entering the speakers list, so we can vote on this tonight. Is there anyone for the speakers list? Senator Mapes.
Well, first I would like to commend Director Chapman for writing this. This is an event that we've done for a while in SOS, and it's just a really great opportunity for students. As somebody who participated in the sustainability kickoff, where we gave away the items that we collected at Fast in the spring, these are a lot of really great items that like students just don't want to lug home with them. And a lot of students were really excited to pick them back up for free at this kickoff event. And it was really nice because people just come by like, oh, this is a really nice rug, I want it. And people get to decorate and furnish their dorms. So it's a really great way to promote sustainability and like community on campus. So I will be voting this up.
Director Chapman.
I will obviously also be voting this up as my second year as the Student Senate SOS director. Long mouthful there. I've been in collaboration with this event being proposed last year, as well as being the volunteer for both of the days last academic year for this, and just seeing the sheer amount of people who are utilizing this event, returning things, as well as students who walked up and were like, oh my gosh, I would love this cabin for next year on living off campus and staying for the summer. We heard so many stories and how this was either helping them save money from not just dumping things on the side of the road and getting a cost for, pickup in the waste management area, but also just for growth of this event and being able to provide sustainability in such a real and applicable manner for students. I really enjoyed seeing what we were able to do for the additions for this year, as well as I cannot wait to see what SOS and the future leaders of this commission do next year. I yield.
Is there anyone else for the speakers list? Director Cooper.
That's right.
Okay, I'll keep this short. I'm in SOS. I've seen the breakdown of the costs for this ask of money. I think that this ask is completely necessary for the event to continue to grow every year, and I think it's a great event. It's a good cause. I'll be voting this up. I yield.
Is there anyone else for the speakers list? Anyone for the speakers list? Seeing none, we will now go into the Blackboard's vote on 69-3-17. All those in favor, please raise your Blackboards. All those opposed? And abstained. In a vote of 27-0 to 2, that bill passes. We have exhausted new business and will now move to personnel. Beginning with the resignation of our student senators of the 69th session. So resigned all of the 69th session senators. You may now exit the, typically we call this a horseshoe, but
Go to the gallery.
what now?
Just go to the gallery. Go to the
Okay,
gallery.
Go to the gallery.
Adios. Every single one of you. Except for Greg. So then you come back.
Wait till I make my motion from back there. Oh no, man, I gotta collect them all here. Infinity stones.
Yep.
Oh, now. That's weird. It's weird.
Now move on to agenda.
Okay, voices. That's just.
We will now move on to agenda item B, resignation of all committee and commission members. So I will go ahead and officially resign all of those committee and commission members. Next up, we have the certification of the election results, and we'll begin with the report from the chair of the elections committee.
You can pull it up.
Yep.
Could I have Sam Stumo and Allie Edson come up here as well? I'm gonna break Harley Crow because I don't quite remember how to do this procedure, so I'll just kind of. You gotta do something kind of formal here, though. Can I have you guys sign this for like? Yeah, we're pulling this up. We just gotta certify this. I guess you guys will vote on this. Okay, so this was the official election results are as follows. I will just read the two highlighted things. So the referendum question: are you in support of the inclusion of trans athletes in the collegiate level sports? 59% voted yes, 620 votes there. And then for the president and vice president candidates, President Isabella Shepard and Vice President Tia Burt, 71%, 718 count. We are currently having all of our members on the election committee sign. So I would just like to read this statement. These results are hereby certified as official by the Student Senate Election Committee and entered into the permanent record of the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire Student Senate. The elected individuals shall assume their roles in accordance with the established transition timeline. Certified this 20th day of April 2026. I just need a second to certify this. I'm actually sorry, I need a motion and then a second.
Motion to certify the election results.
Okay, let me just sign this and then we have certified it completely. I wish I had like a dock camera and then you could see it. Oh yeah, I'll hold it up so we have some sort of formal thing here. Election results have been certified. Okay, now we can move into the next thing. Yeah, you can clap. I don't know. Let's just leave it.
All right. Finally, we have the oath of office for our newly elected senators. So if I could have all of the new senators for the 70th session, please approach the podium. You might have to squeeze in, so but feel free just to kind of surround.
Did you get out of here?
Yeah, Sam. Now you can go back in the back.
Adios.
Or leave, whatever you want to do. Thanks, man. Thanks for your service. Yeah, we might have to go a little bit down here. No, you're gonna face the podium. You'll face the podium. You'll face.
Oh, camera.
Keep moving down. You might be a little bit out of frame too. Keep moving down.
We gotta get moving.
Wow. Don't be afraid of the camera.
This is pretty good for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah, why is the camera right at me?
All right.
Do you want me to zoom it in?
Yeah.
Live streaming, by the way.
Dude.
No, just
No?
recording.
All right, everyone. So if you can raise your right hand and then repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Max Malfetti,
Having been duly appointed by my peers.
having been duly appointed by my peers,
Do solemnly swear that I.
do solemnly swear that I,
Will faithfully execute the office of student senator.
that I will faithfully execute the office of student senator
Of the student body.
of the student body
Of the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire.
of the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire,
That I will adhere to the Constitution of the same.
that I will adhere to the Constitution of the same,
That I will maintain honorable conduct.
that I will maintain honorable conduct,
And that I will faithfully represent.
that I will faithfully represent,
Preserve and protect.
preserve and protect
The greater interests of.
the greater interest of
The students of the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire.
the students of the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire,
In all my words.
in all my words,
Deeds.
deeds,
And actions.
and actions.
Congratulations, everybody.
Wait.
Appointed Senator Fernandez Villa, Moffitt, Lee, Hebron, Daniel, Shetty, Wilmer, Christ, Press, Brett, Nelson, Dietzler, Miller, continuing on here, Parada, Berg, Navier, Mapes, O'Boyle, Peckham, Holtz, Dunlap, Feltes, Kowski, and Long. Congrats, everybody. We will now move on to announcements. Are there any announcements this evening, Director Etzler?
Okay, two. Can I make two right now? Okay, cool. So first thing is my intern, legal name Michael Hansen, other name Big Mike, is going to be hosting a voter registration workshop this Wednesday, April 22nd at 3:30 p.m. in Centennial 1924. Feel free to show up. I believe the original intention was for students that are either graduating or leaving Eau Claire and are going to live in a new area. So just figure out who your new representatives are and everything like that. But feel free to just like show up and yap with him. That's all I got on that one.
Are there any questions for that announcement? Seeing none, please continue.
Okay, second thing, is I think a lot of you don't know, I'm a tutor at the Center for Writing Excellence, and they're gonna be hosting the Night of Procrastination, which is Tuesday, May 5th, from 6 to 8 p.m. in McIntyre Library, Breezeway, which is L2022, where that is in the library, I don't know, but it's there. There's gonna be refreshments, therapy dogs, fidgets, and more, as well as writing tutors and librarians. It'll be like right before finals week, so just if you need any help with anything or like body doubling, if that's helpful, feel free to show up. I don't know if I'm gonna be there. I don't think I'm working it, but I might be there just for fun. So, yeah. I do yield.
Are there any questions for that announcement? Senator Barada.
More like a comment, but I'll also be there. So everybody just come. It's gonna be so much fun. I yield. CWE, Center for Writing Excellence.
Are there any other questions for that announcement? Seeing none, Director Keller.
Hello, everybody. Tomorrow night is Asia Night Market, which is in Ojibwe. Please come. It'll be so much fun. If you have gone to some of the other celebrations that MSS has put on just like this, it's pretty much very similar. There'll be some delicious food for you to eat, some great vendors for you to talk to, maybe even buy something to kind of show your support. Please pop out, show out. It's going to be a fantastical time. I yield.
Are there any questions for that announcement? Senator Mapes.
What time was that? Oh, it's from 5 to 7.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Are there any other questions for that announcement? Seeing none, are there any other announcements? Director Shepherd.
Hello, everyone. So just kind of repeating what was already announced multiple times tonight, applications for directors and coordinators do close this Thursday. So if you're considering applying or want to learn more about certain positions, please reach out to anyone on the exec board, to get those answers, regarding if you want to learn or not. And please fill out the application. Anyone can go for any position, any at all, even if you haven't sat on the commission or you just sent it today. Please apply. I yield.
Are there any questions for that announcement? Any questions? Seeing none, are there any other announcements this evening? Vice President Cardell.
I'm yielding my announcement to student Sam Stumo.
Thank you. I'll be super quick, but I'm graduating, if y'all didn't know that, this semester. I just wanted to thank everybody who was part of Student Senate for just being so warm and like accommodating and patient with all the questions that I've had and everything. I've really learned a lot and truly appreciated getting to know all of you, getting the chance to represent our students with all of you. And for those who are not graduating, live in every moment. It's just like people said in high school, it's so cliche, but it goes by so quick. I feel like somebody told me when I was a freshman that the days are long, but the years are short. and it's certainly true. So make the most out of all the time that you've got left here, because you're certainly gonna miss it. I know I have. And you.
Are there any questions for that announcement? Any questions? Seeing none, are there any final announcements? Without objection to the chair, I do have one. Just a reminder, we do have Harley's this Sunday. We'll be in Dakota at 3 p.m. For our new senators, this is also an open invitation to you all, where you can meet some of the previous directors and senators, or maybe some of the people that are staying on in this body and communicate with them. There will be a lot of great food. We're gonna have a baked potato bar, so that's gonna be really fun. We're also gonna give out some awards and go through our Senate superlatives. So this is a great way to get involved and kind of dip your toes in if you're just now starting. Yeah. I yield. Are there any questions for that announcement? Director Kurtworth.
Do you know if the baked potatoes will be salted?
Well,
Good question.
this is a great question. I know that it is being produced by a candidate, so do that information what you will. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Are there any other questions for Leader Clay?
In terms of like apparel or like dress, are we going more on like are you wear like a Senate PA meeting, or is it gonna be a little more casual than that?
I would say a little more casual. Typically in the past, people do dress up because it is a banquet, but it's less so like formal attire what you wear to Senate. But the way I think of it is like almost like a Sunday brunch kind of event, you know? Some people wear like dresses, skirts, or just like you know, those kinds of things. But it really is meant to be a banquet for everyone in Senate to attend, so we're not formal at all on attire or strict about what people want to wear. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does sense.
Oh, we'll just more information, kind of.
Yeah.
Another note on here was kind of dressing overall, just how we're presenting ourselves. Our keynote students and our program manager will be there, so just keep it in mind when we're there. I want you all to have fun, but also not like on the dressing part, but just like how we're acting. Just keep that in mind. Admin is there, be respectful of them as well. That's it.
Are there any questions for that announcement? Any
Oh.
question?
No, never mind.
Seeing none, are there any final announcements this evening? Vice President Parnell.
I'm doing real good, guys. I'm making a slideshow / a movie at the end of the year for quarterlies with a ton of photos from the year. For those of you who've stepped in my office, you may have seen the photo wall. That has been retired already. RIP. But I have a bunch of photos and acquiring photos. So if you or anybody in Senate have photos of people that have been around, whether it's at a Senate event, hanging out with Senate people, as long as it's appropriate, please send them my way before Wednesday. That's the cutoff. Wednesday, the last day to send me photos that you want in there. I'll go through there. I have like, how many do we have?
Like 300.
So many of them. But I want more variety. I want more people, more different events. So please send them my way. I can get them in the slideshow ASAP. Hi, you.
Are there any questions for that announcement? Any questions? Director Etzler.
What time on Wednesday?
4:30.
4:30 p.m. Central Time.
Fabulous. Are there any other questions for that announcement? Any other questions? Seeing none, are there any final announcements this evening? Going once, going twice. All right. With that, I will now move to adjourn this meeting at 7:36 p.m.